Finally, be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Put on the full armour of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Therefore, put on the full armour of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you have done everything to stand, stand firm then. Standing against evil, standing against the source of evil, the great liar and accuser, is a frightening thing. I remember when I first played rugby, and believe it or not, I was a tiny, skinny little boy. And a huge boy in our school running full pelt at me. I had no idea how to tackle. And the teacher shouting, "Tackle him, make sure you tackle him." Well, the boy ran straight over me and I was left with my face in the mud. It feels a little bit like this when we read this passage. How am I supposed to take my stand? How am I supposed to stand firm then? And when the day of evil comes and is done, do everything to take my stand. When I'm not fighting some larger boy, I am fighting and struggling against the ruler and the powers of this dark world. Sometimes temptation and evil is terrifying and overwhelming, and instead of standing, all I want to do is cower. But we need to take our time and to read this passage slowly and carefully. Look what it says. Be strong in the Lord. I could have tackled that boy if I was in a tank. I would have been able to just run him over. I can tackle the evil one if I'm in Christ. If I put my trust in him, I can tackle whatever evil he throws at me, however pounding and loud and overwhelming the temptations I have are. However many times I've been defeated, if I am in Christ, I can defeat the evil one. Even if I've been beaten 1,000 times, the 1,001st time I can conquer that temptation in Christ. But more than that, I am to put on the full armour of God. Now, some people used to believe, I don't think people do now, that this was referring to Roman armour. But that really leaves you a little bit like fighting Goliath and putting on Saul's armour. How do I know it will fit? But he doesn't say my armour that I'm supposed to put on. He says I'm supposed to put on God's armour. This is armour which has been tried and trusted. Let me turn you to a passage of Isaiah that explains. The Lord saw that there was no one. He was appalled that there is no one to intervene. When we are being attacked by the evil one, the Lord was appalled. So what does he do? Is he just in heaven disgusted? No, his own arm worked salvation. Jesus Christ himself came into this world. He fought the evil one. His own righteousness sustained him, and he put on righteousness as his breastplate, and the helmet of salvation on his head, and he put on the garments of vengeance, and he wrapped himself in zeal as in a cloak. The armour that you were to wear, to put your trust in to protect you, is the armour of God himself that Jesus wore when he came and he conquered Satan and all the principalities and powers of this dark age. He fought them at their most fierce, and as the old hymn says, now should all the hosts of hell put their most dreadful forms of rage and malice on, I shall be safe, for Christ displays superior power and guardian grace. Whatever I'm up against, Jesus has beaten it already. Whatever I feel is overwhelming me, whatever sin has got a hold of me, whatever flaming dart is burning away, Christ has put on God's armour, and he himself has come and fought for me. Look at Psalm 35. Contend, O Lord, with those who contend with me. Fight against those who fight against me. Take up shield and buckler. Arise to my aid. Brandish spear and javelin against those who pursue me. Say to my soul, I am your salvation. If the devil has smashed you and you're in a corner, and you're cowering and you're a wreck, and you feel you can't win, ask for Jesus to fight for you. And here he comes from heaven, armed to the teeth, if I could put it that way. Already conquered Satan on the cross, and now he wants to crush Satan under your feet, as it says in Romans. Stand firm. Stand firm and be strong in the Lord. Why? Because he has given you his armour, so you can stand against the devil's schemes. In Christ, there is not one temptation you cannot resist. In Christ, there is not one devil or demons or all of them put together that you cannot stand against. Even on the day of evil, even on that moment where temptation seems to grip you and you are being led, as it says in Proverbs, with a ring around your nose, even at that moment, Jesus can come and he will fight for you. Contend for me. Are you sitting there terrified that there is no hope? Outside of Christ, there is not one temptation you can resist. In Christ, you can resist them all. So put on, be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Put on the full armour of God, so that you can take your stand, your stand, against the devil's schemes with those who are in your church.